Hello, this is Antonio Gangale. Be discussing the United States versus Union Cheese Company case. Here, the codes of United States judges. A judge should accord every person who has a legal interest in a proceeding that person's lawyer the full right to be heard according to law. Some back history. I was going through the corporate files. I believe it's page 3. It was within the statement of facts. I noticed that there was some underlining of 2 paragraphs and some writing in the left-hand margin that had stated not me. Again, so these were corporate files. That would have been in possession of my father, and that's typical of my father to use a red pen, and it appears to be his writing. When I read the statements of fact, I understand why it was underlined. You'll see here it says Dominic F. Gangale is the president of Union Cheese Company, is responsible for, has authority over the management and day-to-day operations of Union Cheese, including the methods, manner, and conditions which Union cheeses are manufactured and distributed. He performs his duty at Union Cheese facility, and that is derived from the Declaration of Marzelli, 3rd paragraph and 5th paragraph. Second paragraph, or the other paragraph states, defendant Annette M. Gangale is second in command at Union Cheese. She is active in and authority over the management day-to-day operations of Union Cheese, including methods, manner, conditions which Union Cheese are manufactured and distributed. There's these rules of evidence or whatnot is the present sense impression. It's a statement describing or explaining an event or condition made while or immediate laughter. So my father, it appears his first impression is that it's not him, and there's issues with this and the paragraph of my sister. Let's briefly understand the roles of typical chief executive officers, which that was my father. Here it says CEO typically deals only with the very high-level strategic decision, the capital allocation of the firm. The chief operating officer. The chief operator is a senior executive tasked with overseeing the day-to-day administration and the operational functions of the business, and is considered to be second in command. Here, what is the difference between CEO and COO? Here, a COO is the second highest individual in the firm that reports to the CEO and is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the firm. We'll go on to say he works in various positions, particularly specific to the organization, different parts of it, and how they all work together. So let's go back to this declaration. It says day-to-day operations of the company. So it appears that this paragraph is describing the chief operating officer. And here my father's the president, and he is the CEO. Now you'll see that they named my sister. But let's go here. It says Chief Financial Officer. CFO duties include tracking cash flow and financial planning, managing finances and accounting division, top level executive, 3rd highest position in the company, academic background in finance. So when I had read this declaration that was submitted by the FDA, that's when I kind of put everything together and what transpired in this case or how it got all wonky. So within the federal court order, I believe it's the June 16th order, it states here that then these are the findings of fact from the court. It says Dominic Gangale is semi-retired, spending approximately 40% of the time at the plant. We can get further into that they describe firm, they use terms firm and plant, and they also use definitions of manufacturing and distributing. So when you see the term plant, there's a legal definition of what plant is and also the referring of the firm. Approximately 40% of the time at the plant. When Dominic Gangale is not present at the plant, defendant Annette Gangale assumes control of operations. These findings of facts are absolutely incorrect. I'll further discover that there was the answer to the complaint for the injunction And we'll see in paragraph 3, defendants admit Annette M. Gangale is an individual, is the daughter of Dominic F. Gangale, admits she is an employee of Union Cheese, but denies she's second in command at Union Cheese Company. Further states she is not an officer of the corporation and is not in charge of the firm when Mr. Gangale is absent. So it was clear that the Justice Department and the courts knew that there was issues with these declarations here. We'll further see in the memorandum in opposition to the motion for preliminary injunction, defendants have previously served and filed their answer to the complaint for the injunction. Here, in addition, the defendants have filed their motion to dismiss Annette M. Gangale from the action as having been improperly named as a party. It's clear that the Justice Department is aware that there is issues of individuals named. So it was clear that they was brought to the government's attention. We'll further see in the case management that the FDA will visit the facility and reassess current affairs. Parties will meet in conference to discuss settlement or consent. Parties will produce expert reports, deposition. Plaintiff will make investigators available for depositions, and the defendants will make managers available for depositions. Rule 11, representations to the court. So we'll see what was filed with the government by the government in response. By presenting to the court or pleading written motion or other papers, whether be signed, filed, submitted, or later advocated it, the attorney or unrepresented certifies that to the best of the person's knowledge, information, and belief formed after an inquiry, reasonably under the circumstances. The Justice Department was granted a court-ordered search for 3 days of the facility, and what was their response, or what was filed with the court? What's absolutely inconceivable is that it appears that the lead inspector filed a declaration. Enormous problems with this declaration. First, it appears that it's inconsistent with the facts and traditions of how corporate structures. It appears that they're having the chief executive officer handling day-to-day operations. And what's even more interesting is they are fully aware that my father's semi-retired. What's further is they were granted a court-ordered inspection for 3 days, yet within his declaration it appears that he cites information that is 8 months old. So there isn't even present information presented in that. Further, it appears that the declaration by the lead investigator, there is no date to this declaration. It does, however, appear to be filed after the memorandum by the plaintiff in opposition to the defendant's motion. So the court-ordered inspection was between May 16th and the 18th. This was filed on the 24th, so several days after the court-ordered inspection. This was filed within the memorandum. What's extremely troubling with that is that I had a conversation with the lead investigator during the last day of the court-ordered inspection in which he explained things. I don't want to get into too far detail with that. Additionally, on June 22nd, that would have been 3 days after the court-ordered shutdown, I had spoke with a co-op out of New York that was supplying milk. And I talked with him in the morning and late in the evening, in between the conversations he had with the Food and Drug Administration as well. And they explained things to him. So with those particular conversations, it was clear that they understood the dynamic of the company. So it would appear that when you're submitting these the declaration before the court of the named individuals in response to the motion, it would be clear that they're omitting someone, or that something, these are inconsistent with the knowledge that they had. So they appear to be materially omitting facts or whatnot. And why would you put an 8-month-old, or approximately, I think it was 7 months and several weeks old declaration, if you're answering? Again, you're going for a federal injunction that basically wants to stop all commerce, which would basically be a death sentence for the corporation. So you don't ask any questions or how you don't do an inquiry to verify when the corporation is telling you that these facts are not correct. Now remember, further, so the magnitude of that. So the legal requirement to have the adverse party have notice of Rule 65 and due process that they seem to ignore or materially omit facts. So there's legal issues with that. It would be affecting a fair trial. And also there's Rule 11, which attorneys are certifying facts and that they have done an inquiry, as well as a federal judge's oath to have interested parties the right to be heard. So all these huge legal issues with this declaration that they're putting that is 8 months old. Now remember, or let's further understand, is so you're there multiple times, one going on 3 weeks, and then you're given further of 3 additional days where you can depose and ask questions under a federal court order. So you had the corporation, you had my father, you had my sister, my mother. You had myself that was with you the entire time at the facility. You had the employees. You have independent milk haulers that are there routinely. You have the U.S. Department of Agriculture as well as the Ohio Department of Agriculture. You have people on the witness list. You have the milk suppliers. You have whey consumers. There's conversations of you could ask local businesses. We are the Swiss cheese, the center of Swiss cheese capital of the world. So countless dairies. So do they talk? Do they have knowledge? So you have multiple firms. So all these places, then you have local businesses. So you have all these locations and opportunity to verify these particular facts. So if you see the declaration by Philip, Philip puts before the court, it says in charge computer operations, and you see the term finances. Are you describing a chief operating officer? Or are you describing someone who handles finance? Here it says records. A court order inspection, they use, again, the dated information, but it appears that you're describing the chief financial officer, so what this declaration does. And we can further go into is, of tradition, is if the chief operating officer, if it's his primary duty, and the chief executive officer, that's not one of his duties, so it wouldn't matter if the chief executive officer was absent, is those duties fall to the chief operating officer. So clearly, I believe that there's issues that they improperly named defendants in the action. And where it gets extremely disturbing now is, so if you are having my father testify, is how often is he in the plant? Where is his direct knowledge of facts regarding it? And if you're skewing it to the chief financial officer, so you appear within these declarations, they omit the chief operating officer. And that's the primary person with those duties. So it appears the reason why these are underlined is how they presented this to the court is not typical, and it's inconsistent with how the corporation was structured and common how companies are structured. Now, where this becomes extremely concerning is the due process. So, was there due process followed within this union case? And is it an unbiased court at this point? Is it an unbiased tribunal? So, was there notice? Was there opportunity to present evidence? Was there a right to present evidence in the case? Opposing evidence, cross-examination, all those. And that goes back to the legal issue of being permanently barred access to the federal courts. Is this order, is it unconstitutional? Does it obstruct justice? Does it create enormous legal issues? Is there a right to be heard? I believe that there's unconstitutional activity. I believe it obstructs justice, and it infringes on multiple constitutional rights, and I believe it is willful that what was transpiring here. I would appreciate the public's opinion on what I should do on this particular issue. I want to thank you for your time. Goodbye.